Hello everybody, it's Jen, Scrapbena Creations. Welcome back to another design team project for Scrapping for Less. Today I am using the Prehistoric Pals by Heffy Doodle, and it has some hilarious sentiments such as another year bolder, I accidentally missed your birthday, never too old to go clubbing, and the sentiment that I'm using, I feel like I've known you forever. So I'm going to start off with a bit of coloring. I decided to do some very light skin tones for our two little characters here. And as soon as I saw this stamp set, it instantly reminded me of the Flintstones. And I was a child growing up in the 80s, and I remember watching the Flintstones all the time and absolutely loved it. So I was really happy to work with this stamp set this month. For the hair for both of our characters, I'm going to be using some cool grays to give them some black hair. So my darkest color for that is C7, and you can see here I'm just laying that out very lightly. My mid-tone is C5, and then my lightest color is C3. Most of my coloring for today is 3-color blends, giving these images are quite tiny. So once I get our little character done here, I'm going to move on to the character who reminded me of Fred, although Fred didn't have a beard, but we're just going with it. So I wanted to keep this consistent in the black colors, just following the kind of lines in the hair that are already there. Doing some flicking motion here just so that there is some detail to the hair here, so it just isn't colored in kind of one big swoop. You can leave the flicking out for these smaller hair areas. Like I said, these are tiny images, so if you're not comfortable with the flicking technique, you can absolutely just go ahead and color these in solid. So I wanted to do her dress like Betty's dress in some bright blues. So for that I'm using B04, B02, and B00. I want to make sure that I'm giving some darker colors to the bottom of her skirt or her dress I guess, where the peaks are coming up at the hemline. For Fred, of course, the iconic tie, so I wanted to go ahead and draw that in. I'm just using my Memento marker for that. It is an alcohol marker safe marker, so I'm able to color around that without any bleeding. So for him, I'm also doing the same where I'm adding some darker shades at the hemline where the V's come up, and then coloring the rest of his outfit in. So of course for our little Dino the dinosaur, I wanted to do him in purples. So I'm using V09, V17, and V15. V09 is the darkest, and then V17 is my mid-tone, with V15 being my lightest color. Once I get the darkest mapped out, I'll go through with the mid-tone, and then I'll continue to blend that out with the lightest. I did need to do a little bit of tip-to-tip technique here just to make sure I had that blended to the color that I wanted. So he colored up super easy. I love the little smile on his face and his big nose. For the little spines on his back, I'm just using the C5 marker, and I will leave his little fingernails white. For the tie on our little Fred inspired character, I'm going to do those in some aqua colors. I'm using BG13, BG11, and BG10. I'm also using the BG11 and 10 for the inside of our little stone house here. Also giving that a touch of shading with our aqua markers here on the sides of the house. And I'll bring that in with my, blending that out with my lighter tone. I do also want to make sure that this looks like stone. So I'm going to bring in my C1 marker here and my C00. I had just refilled this marker and I overfilled it slightly. So I'm just kind of dabbing that off, making sure my shadows are around the windows, around the doors, and to the sides of the house, and then underneath the roof and around the rock. I'm leaving the door blank right now. I am going to come in and create an iconic red door like the one from the Flintstones. Just had to fix up where I went out of the line there a little bit with my colorless blender. Here's where I'm going to do the red. I'm just bringing in my lightest marker right now, the R24. I'm going to do a little bit of dark highlight here, or low light, whatever you want to call it, shading with my R39, and then my midtone is the R29. I'm going to add a little bit of red to the axe as well, although I don't end up using the axe on this card. I went ahead and colored up a few of these images here in brown. I won't be using all of those images, so I just skipped through the coloring for that. And now I'm going in with my black glaze pen, just adding some nice black detail. This pen, when the gel dries, it is raised off the paper, and it just gives it a nice shiny black look. Also coming in to do some highlights with my white Signo gel pen. Love the way that this just kind of allows your images to pop off the page. I'm going to use that on her necklace and her bracelet, and a little bit here on the house. So once I get that done, I did use my brother's scan and cut to cut out all of these images. Just makes it so simple and quick. And now I'm going to start working on the background. So for the background, I'm using Distress Oxide in Salty Ocean, and I'm also using some pumice stone. I wanted to have it look like the Stone Ages, kind of with the gray on the bottom. I didn't want to use a green just because I didn't feel like it went with the historic period of the card. So I'm just using my makeup brushes here to blend on a soft background. I purchased those at Amazon. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer here to add just a little bit of something to my card panel. I decided to frame the images using the reversed scalloped stitched dies by Fawn. So this will cut out the front panel for me. This is going to be a fairly clean and simple card here. So I'm just going to adhere my panel onto my card base. This is an A2 size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Once I get that down, I will position this top panel. I am not going to add any dimension here. I'm going to have it adhered flat to my card base. And once I do that, I will go ahead and start gluing on the images. Now, this was my second take at this card. The first card I did using the images, so you can see here I've already glued on the little club and the bone to our characters because I did, like I said, already do this card, and then kind of ripped up all of the little images here. I did a landscape card and I just felt like everything was too spread out. I didn't like the look of it. So here I'm just adding some additional glue to the back of my foam tape because it wasn't as sticky, given I had already kind of carefully peeled it up from the first card layout that I did. So I really like the way the frame kind of frames, for lack of a better word, the images here, and I thought there was something missing in that background, so I do come in and bring that little wooden car. Once I get these into place, you're going to see me just kind of feel like that top right hand is just too empty. So I haven't gotten there yet. First, I decide that I want to stamp my sentiment. I'm using Versaclair ink here. And here's where I'm trying to decide if I want that little car in the background, and I do like how that fills up the space. So the sentiment is, I feel like I've known you forever, which I got a huge kick out out of. I think this would be a great card to send to one of your longtime friends, especially if you were a Flintstones fan. So there's the card for today. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.